Aerodactyl deserves better. This move pool, come on. No Rock Slide? This fact has almost become a meme in my videos. It frustrates me so much. This winged prehistoric Pokemon also deserves to be re-ranked in my tier list. My last playthrough with it was over a year ago, so to fairly rank it, I've got to do a replay with my current rules and collect new results. Previously, I finished in 3 hours and 37 minutes, and that was not saving between league members. I did attempt saving between league members as well in that video, and I got a time of 2 hours and 55 minutes. I know that I can do much better now. I've practiced, I've upgraded my production, I've improved my game knowledge, and I've focused my determination by doing way too many playthroughs per video. Let's find out what Aerodactyl is really capable of. By the way, the video description contains the rules, software used, and a guide to replace your starter. The first fight in the game is against the rival in the lab. Wing Attack does a third, my rock typing allows me to resist Eevee's tackle, and it fails a tail whip. My third Wing Attack knocks it out. That was easy, largely due to the fact that Aerodactyl has great, albeit unbalanced stats. 80 HP, 105 attack, 65 defense, 60 special, and 130 speed, giving it a 25% crit rate. So it's a fast physical attacker, and its types have nice synergy with this. In Generation 1, damage category is determined by type, and in this case rock and flying moves both deal physical damage. And then you realize that Aerodactyl doesn't learn a single rock type move. There are actually only 2 rock type moves in Generation 1, Rock Throw and Rock Slide. I know that Rock Throw only has 65% accuracy, but honestly, I'd be much happier if Aerodactyl got it. The true crime here is that Aerodactyl can't learn Rock Slide, even through TM. I will be upset about this forever. I know I already mentioned it in this video, but yeah, it just frustrates me so much. Luckily, it does get access to flying moves though. It starts with Wing Attack, which only has 35 base power, and it learns Sky Attack and Fly through TM. Sky Attack seems like it would be good, like really good, look at its base power, but it turns out that on the turn that you charge, you can still be hit. With Aerodactyl's defense and special stats, this isn't going to be a good idea. Here are some other notable moves. It learns Agility, which can give it access to the badge boost, Hyper Beam, which doesn't have to recharge if it KOs, and Fire Blast because this thing is a dragon, I guess? Honestly, it probably would have been better if Aerodactyl was given the dragon type instead of the rock type, but I get that it's a fossil like it used to be a rock, so now it's still a rock. Because Aerodactyl defeated the rival in the lab, the champion will either have Flareon or Jolteon. I'm thinking that the Flareon team will be easier to fight, so I'll skip the optional rival battle and head straight for the forest. Plus, Wing Attack is super effective against the bugs here, so that's going to speed up my training. I can 2-hit the Caterpie on the first trainer's team and level up to 6. This gives me a piece of information. Aerodactyl has the slow growth rate. From my experience, this is a limiting factor in solo playthroughs. Hopefully, I'll be able to overcome it today with some intelligent strategy, optimization, and planning. I stopped by Viridian Mart to grab Pokeballs, so if I run into a Pidgey, I can catch it. When you take them into Orange Health, a Pokeball basically is a Master Ball. As I face the second bug catcher, I want to discuss Brock because he's the first major obstacle that Aerodactyl has to overcome. His team obviously also suffers from a lack of rock moves. This really is a theme with rock-type Pokemon in this generation. In this case, it's an advantage for my Flying Terror because rock-type doesn't resist rock moves. I do find that sort of strange, but I guess that you can use rocks to smash other rocks. For Aerodactyl, that's unfortunate because the Flying type adds a weakness, and facing Brock if he had rock moves would be much more challenging. This might be hard in the remakes. However, without rock moves, the rock typing gives a resistance to all of Brock's moves. With more speed than the Onyx already, I will confidently be able to stall Bide by using Agility. This makes me feel quite confident facing him early on. Previously, I defeated him at level 11, so today I'm going to aim for that again. To do so, I face all the bug catchers in the forest. They're fast to defeat with Wing Attack. I'm only level 10 after defeating the mandatory bug catcher, so I choose to face the Lightyear's junior trainer in Brock's gym. He conveniently gives me just enough experience to level up to 11. Now, let's face the rock-solid Pokemon trainer himself. Geodude is first. I have to use Wing Attack, and Aerodactyl's high base attack actually makes it deal decent amounts of damage, even though it's resisted. Geodude uses Tackle for 2 damage, and here's another advantage in this fight on my side. That's Aerodactyl's crit rate. I end up scoring not 1, not 2, but 3 against Brock's first Pokemon. The last one didn't really matter though. Onyx is next. This thing has 160 defense and it resists wing attacks, so I'm not doing very much. It's going to be a slow fight. Now, while it uses Screech, I'm going to note something. My software was going through a development phase when I filmed this video, and the negative stat modifiers don't show up as a result. The stat is actually correctly recalculated, but the little -2 doesn't appear, so sorry about that. I did film this a while ago. Also, while we're looking at the stats, my level 11 Aerodactyl has 148 speed. Amazing. Apparently that speed doesn't lead to a fast victory though, because this takes forever. Finally, Onyx goes down, and looking at the clock, this is actually a respectable time to get past Brock. Who's feeling confident about Aerodactyl? I am. I have made this mistake before with rock types. Perhaps I should be careful. Now, I mentioned how the slow growth rate is usually a challenge to overcome in these playthroughs, and that's going to be really true in the next segment of the game, because up next are Misty and Surge. They're both leaders that Aerodactyl is weak against, and a type disadvantage isn't the only thing working against me. Aerodactyl won't have learned any new moves by the time it faces them. Wing attack is gonna have to be enough. I spend time facing a few additional trainers in Mount Moon to earn some easy experience. After that's done, I pick up the Dome Fossil, defeat Jesse and James, and make it to Cerulean City. Currently, Aerodactyl's speed tied with Starmie, so this isn't enough. The right choice is to face the rival on Nugget Bridge first. Wing attack does half to Spearow, Fury attack fizzles against my rock typing, and I move on to the sand attacking Devil. Accuracy drops against this thing can be devastating. Wing attack crits for half? That's really nice. And then sand attack misses. Yes. So wing attack takes it to red and Sandshrew scratches. Whew, I made it through the worst part of the fight with my accuracy intact. Rattata only has normal moves and Eevee's the same, so I've made it through this fight. Now, how much will I level up fighting all the mandatory trainers on Nugget Bridge and the following route? Against the Oddish at the end, Aerodactyl makes it to level 21. Its speed is nice enough now, and I could attempt Misty. However, I do think there's a better option. If I head to Vermilion City, I'll get more levels. That will make me much more confident against her. The rocket outside Cerulean City is easy to defeat. The junior trainer with the 3 sand attacking Pidgeys is a bit tougher because wing attack isn't getting the one-hit knockout, but her birds only have normal type moves, so they can't do much damage to me. In Vermilion City, I start to enact the first stages of a plan. I grab the bike voucher first, which is not normally how I do this, and that's because I'm going to skip Surge until after I've obtained Fly. It's about a 40-second time loss to backtrack to him, but part of this time is required to unlock Saffron City anyways, and I have a feeling that Aerodactyl would reset more on Surge because wing attack is not very effective. Recently I learned a couple new things about the SS Anne. On my way to rest, there's actually 2 cabins that have useful items in them. The first one has a max potion in it, and in the third is an ether. I don't have to fight any additional trainers to grab these, so it only takes about 4 seconds. Honestly, I think it's very useful to grab these when I'm getting rest. The ether can help me replenish my PP when it's needed most, and the max potion prevents trips to the mart or the Poke Center. Additionally, I can also sell it to buy more vitamins in Celadon City. After I've grabbed rest, I pass by the Body Slam room, and unfortunately Aerodactyl cannot learn this move either. I grab the rare candy, and then I face the rival. Wing attack one-hits Spearow, and then I use agility because I have the Boulder badge, and this triggers a badge boost, raising my attack stat. I'm doing this against the Rattata only because it has normal moves, and Spearow could have used Growl, which would have foiled my plan. I want my attack stat to be as high as possible so that I can knock the Sandshrew out and the Eevee and avoid all of the sand attacks. With the boost from wing attack, I am able to 2-hit Sandshrew and the Eevee. I dig back to Cerulean City, and now I have to face Misty because her badge gives me the ability to use Cut outside of battle. I'm a bit worried. Hopefully level 23 is enough. Staryu is first. It's significantly less scary because it only has Water Gun. I can set up agility here for batch boosts. First turn she uses an X defend, and second one she uses Water Gun, dealing a quarter. My attack stat is 87. This might be enough. I should probably attack before the Staryu does too much damage. The X defense she used lets it survive my first wing attack, Water Gun hits again, and I have just over half health remaining for the Starmie. And then Aerodactyl levels up. So that resets the badge boosts, and that takes away 13 attack in the process. Wing attack hits, it does over half because of a crit, so that's nice. Starmie uses Water Gun, but Aerodactyl survives. I did not expect that. However, I'm probably not going to do enough to win without getting a crit. But yeah, Aerodactyl crits again. So sweet, I beat her. With that luck behind me, now I can move on to the mandatory trainers between here and Lavender Town. Here's a list. The Rapping Lass, a Bug Catcher, Pokemaniac 1, Pokemaniac 2, the Status Condition Junior Trainer, the Self-Destructing Hiker, and finally this Finisher Junior Trainer that just messes you up after all of this. Which one do you think is going to be an issue? The Self-Destructing Hiker is the answer, of course. Now, you'll notice that I'm using Agility here. Honestly, I was just sort of like hyper-focused on the fact that my Rock type lets me resist Self-Destruct here, so eventually I thought they'll just knock themselves out and I'll win. I also didn't want to use Wing Attack because I only have 14 PP left, and I don't want to run out on the final Junior Trainer. I also want to be able to get to Celadon City without having to use a Poke Center. And what I didn't remember here is that the Hiker's Rock types actually know Rock moves. How nice for them. Graveler uses it, it misses, and I'm clearly not paying attention here because why am I spamming Agility? I should just Wing Attack. And then it hits with Rock Throw, and that knocks Aerodactyl out. Okay, let's try that again. Geodude 1 self-destructs quickly, the second one uses Rock Throw, and then it blows up, and I arrive at Graveler with only 20 hit points left. Okay, this time I'm going to attack. Wing Attack crits for a quarter, Graveler uses Defense Curl, and Wing Attack isn't doing much now. Please don't use Rock Throw or Self-Destruct. Okay, fine, I'll do it again. Now, I'm a stubborn guy. After all, I'm playing Pokemon Yellow over and over again. I was convinced here that he would just blow up all of his Pokemon and then that I'd win, but that's not how this works. So that's 3 resets. In the next fight, I clearly figured this out and now I'm attacking the Graveler, but even with this optimal play, it's still a long shot to win. So that's a 4th reset. The problem is that even if I attack the Geodudes, it's slow going and they can just blow up before I KO them. If I win, I'll have no PP left, or the Graveler will just blow up and end the fight. So that's 5 resets now. There might be another way though. I always sell items for the first time when I arrive in Celadon City. This ensures that I hold on to Bide as long as possible. Maybe I can use it to defeat him. It absorbs damage from Rock Throw and one-hits Geodude. The second one self-destructs, I absorb that damage, and Graveler comes out. So that's essentially the perfect order of events for this fight. Aerodactyl unleashes energy, Graveler survives, and I start using Wing Attack. Alright, I finally got this. It's just gonna take a little while. But Graveler uses Rock Throw, and Aerodactyl barely survives. I take it to a sliver, and it uses Rock Throw again. Okay. Am I stuck here? That was the perfect sequence of events for that fight, and I still lost. So what are the odds that things are going to line up again like that in the next fight? Well, I'm not really sure, but they do line up exactly the same. However, this time Aerodactyl crits Graveler with Wing Attack, and I finally managed to win. With that challenge out of the way, it's now time for some mid-game errands. I grab the hidden elixir and nugget in the tunnel, and I heal to set my dig point to Celadon City. Then I deposit items, grab items in the hideout, and then do my shopping. With this out of the way, I teach Aerodactyl Fly, but I can't use it yet, and that's because I don't have Surge's badge. So let's backtrack and take him on. I use Fly, Raichu gets an X speed, making it go first now, and then Fly does a third. To counter the X speed, I use Agility, Raichu punches, and my next Fly crits. But this isn't over. Raichu could use Thunderbolt, however, Surge doesn't have good AI, so he just doesn't use it, and with that I've won. Pokemon Tower is next, and it's going to be really easy. The ghosts here have weak defenses, so Fly manages all of them. Next, I grab a rare candy on Cycling Road, complete the Safari Zone, and train in Erica's gym. After all, Fly just destroys the grass types here. Tangle is first, and my flying type moves are great against all of her Pokemon. Weepinbell gets destroyed, but I miss on the Gloom. Fly's accuracy is really frustrating. I know it's only 95% and I've used moves like Hypnosis in the past, but it's still very frustrating, especially when it's Aerodactyl's best stab move. Also, it's a 2-turn move. Why does it have 95% accuracy? Like, why? Come on. So now I'm asleep, and Gloom knocks Aerodactyl out with Petal Dance. Okay, so I thought this was going to be easy. One loss is pretty bad, but at least I get by her on my next attempt. I'd rather face Koga than the Sylph rival because Fly is super effective against his bug types. After all, he's sort of a bug type leader in this game. Making the rival additionally undesirable is the fact that he has Cloyster and Magneton. I don't really have an idea of how I'm going to manage them. Alright, Ninja Master, show me what you're made of. He's clearly made of Venonats. Well, 75% of him at least. Fly should take care of them. Okay, the second one survives. Koga uses an X attack, and I finish it. Fly doesn't KO the third one as well, and then it puts me to sleep. I have my special lowered, but I do manage to take it out. However, I still need to manage the Venomoth, and this Dragon type is everything that Aerodactyl wishes that it could be. Still, Fly does more than half, but Psychic polishes off my prehistoric Pokemon. If I set up Agility, I should be able to one-shot the Venonats, but there's a risk in doing this, because then the first Venonat puts me to sleep, and that can take me out. It's so fun when a rock flying type is struggling against the gym leader, who, as I said before, is essentially a bug trainer. Now, while I was writing this script, I had a different idea, and you might be thinking the same thing too. Why not set up on the second Venonat because it doesn't have sleep powder? Yep. That would have prevented this third loss, but clearly I haven't figured that out yet. Instead, I decide that I should use some rare candies to improve my damage range. Venonat 1 down, Venonat 2 down, Venonat 3 down as well. Okay, so that's much easier. Venomoth is last, Fly does more than half, I survive Psychic, and finally defeat Koga. Now, I think it's time to attempt the Sylph rival. Sandslash, Cloyster, and Magneton are the first 3 Pokemon, so how am I going to get past them? Well, I try setting up Agility on Sandslash to boost my attack, but this is perilous because it has Sand Attack. What happens to a move with 95% accuracy when the user is hit with a Sand Attack? Well, a swift death to Cloyster's Beam, that's what. Since I've defeated Koga, I can surf south and complete the mansion. This also allows me to buy more vitamins and train in Blaine's gym. I'm only level 40 after this, and that's the slow growth rate for you. So I decide that I should continue my training in the dojo before facing Blaine. Ninetales leads. Fly does under half, Tail Whip lowers my defense. By this point I had fixed my software so you can see the little stage modifier now, and then Fly takes it into red. Flamethrower does a quarter, and with that I'm moving on to the Rapidash. It misses Growl, Fly does under half again, and Aerodactyl gets taken down to orange. Fly misses, of course it does. Rapidash gets Growl in, and I finish it with Swift. There's still a chance for Aerodactyl's crit rate to come through though against the Arcanine. Instead, it uses Reflect, and Fly does this much damage. So yeah, I am definitely now fishing for a crit. I don't get one, and that's it. So let's recap. Brock, the rock type gym leader, was easy for my flying type. Okay, so that's a little bit weird. Misty was quite awful, but I got very lucky. The self-destructing hiker, obviously the best hiker in the game, was Aerodactyl's toughest opponent yet. He was as tough as rock, you could say. Surge, I got very lucky, probably should have lost this once or twice to a Thunderbolt. Against Erica, I had a type advantage, but the moves with awful accuracy led to defeat. Koga, again a type advantage, but slow level up rate limited my damage, and I didn't one-hit the Venonats, so yeah, that was tough. And now Blaine, another type advantage, but not enough damage to reliably win. So, considering Aerodactyl's typing, it's actually won all the fights that should have been difficult, like Brock is a rock leader and Misty is a water leader, Surge is an electric leader, and then it's lost all the fights that it should have breezed through, Erica, Koga, and Blaine. It's rare to have a playthrough with a non-water or grass type, where Brock is the easiest gym leader. Also, there are exceptions to those rules. I'm thinking about you, Seal and Tangela. After training to level 46, I think that maybe the rival will be manageable now. After all, I am in Sylph. Fly crits Sandslash, it's a 2-hit range for Cloyster. I use Fly on Magneton, it doesn't do half, and I use Takedown to finish it. Why do Aerodactyl's most powerful moves like Takedown have awful accuracy? It also does recoil damage. I really don't like this move. I know that I could use Swift, but going through the entire game with a Pokemon using a 60 base power move with a slow growth rate doesn't seem like a good idea. I survive Magneton, KO the Kadabra, but Fly doesn't KO Flareon. It uses Bite, which is a normal type attack in Generation 1, and Aerodactyl survives. I just barely did it. Since Aerodactyl's all speed and attack, Sabrina should be easy to finish off, unless we look at this footage from my previous Aerodactyl playthrough from last summer. Yeah, maybe it's not going to be easy. Luckily this time, it actually is, and with her out of the way, I fly to Vermilion City, approach the gym, and this time, it's not Erica. I did defeat her, it's Blaine. At a higher level, Aerodactyl's resistances really shine in this fight. Fly even crits at the very end, and that finishes the Arcanine off. Okay, I didn't mention this, but Giovanni could be the worst. Dugtrio has Sand Attack, Persian has Double Team and Slash, the Nidos have Thunder in yellow, and Rhydon has Rock Slide. So Giovanni gets to utilize the power of a rock type with a rock type move. How nice for him. In my previous video, I decided to steal Earthquake, but now I think there's a better way. I KO Dugtrio as soon as possible with Swift. I can use Mimic to steal Double Team from Persian. This move is so powerful, and I very rarely get to use it because of my rules. By setting it up in combination with Agility, I can trigger the badge boost a total of 9 times. That takes my attack stat to 528 and my speed to 747. So yeah, that's like very close to the cap actually. Stats can only go up to 999. Something that I find very funny here is that my defense is 163. Feels very out of place. Hopefully, I won't need it. Swift ensures damage against the setup Persian, Fly KOs both of the Nidos, and then Aerodactyl levels up. So, no more badge boosts for me going up against the Rhydon. But my evasion is still very high, and rock moves are very inaccurate. But the AI clearly is not playing by the same rules, and Rock Slide hits. Surely this isn't going to happen again. Nope, I'm wrong. Definitely it will. So that's a second loss. I can't believe it. Finally, in the third fight, Aerodactyl manages to take the Rhydon down. For the pre-league rival battle, I steal Slash. This is always going to crit, by the way. With high crit rate moves like this, you just divide the base speed of the Pokemon by 64 and you'll get your percentage. Things do get a bit tense at the end of the fight. Flareon uses Leer, and that lets me win. For now, I'm taking it, but I am going to have to test this fight. Arriving at the league, I realize that I'm so much faster than I was last year. This is really nice to see. I've learned so much about these games, and it's nice to have a run to compare like this between my previous self so that I can see just how much I've grown. So just how much time have I shaved off? Well, I could potentially clock in more than an hour and a half faster. That would cut Aerodactyl's time in 2. However, the toughest 4 trainers still remain. Let's do this. Lorelei opens with Dugong. I'm not doing as much as I'd like. Bubble Beam does half. Lorelei uses a super potion, and that's what I needed to take it out. I've taught Fire Blast specifically for the Cloyster. Its special is much lower than its defense. Unfortunately, it's still going to be a 3-hit, and Ice Beam takes Aerodactyl out. I try fully setting up with Agility at Dugong, but it refuses to rest, and that's another reset. But what about just 1 Agility? That's a 2-hit range for Dugong and for the Cloyster. However, that assumes that I get 2 turns. So maybe 2 Agilities is better, but I go down trying. I revert back to my original strategy, and then when Dugong's at low health, I get indecisive and I try to set up hoping that it's going to rest, but it just doesn't. Okay, so I've saved some rare candies, and I think that now is the time. After all, there isn't a lot of training after this point. As I level up, I learn Hyper Beam in the place of Fire Blast, and then I try again at level 58. Now, of course, Dugong rests. Just great. I fully set up, I get crit, and then I take it down with Hyper Beam. By the way, there's no recharge if you KO in Gen 1. So I hoped that it would do the job on Cloyster, but it doesn't. The resets are really starting to stack up, like pizza boxes before I met my fiance. Because of frequent crits, I can make it past the Dugong without losing health. Cloyster always does some damage, but if I manage to set up, I stay in green health and can knock it out with Hyper Beam. Slowbro I can 2-hit starting with Fly and finishing with Hyper Beam. Jinx is obviously a 1-hit, this thing is so frail. And then I make it to Lapras for the first time. I use Fly, it does more than half, Lapras uses Blizzard, and Aerodactyl hangs on. So I've done it! It's time to move on to lesser opponents. And by lesser opponents, I mean the Hiker, who is clearly not the best Hiker in the game. We proved definitively who the best Hiker in the game was. It's the Hiker in Rock Tunnel. I actually think that the Elite Four might benefit from becoming the Elite 5 by inviting the self-destructing Hiker into their ranks. How do you think that he would do as a second member of the Elite Four? He could actually just like take this room that the Hiker is like hanging out in. I know it's kind of like a room to just like hang out in before you face Agatha. Anyways, she's next, and she should be simple. I can Mimic Substitute, set up with Agility, and sweep with Fly. Strong physical moves are her undoing. The final Gengar breaks my Substitute, but Fly is still a 1-hit. The third member of the Elite Four is next. Gyarados is a tough opponent to start against. Not today though, Fly crits, Hydro Pump misses, and that's that. Fly doesn't KO Dragonair, it uses Thunderbolt, Aerodactyl takes 1/3, and I finish it with Hyper Beam. While it's risky, I'm gonna Mimic Ice Beam here. Unfortunately, Aerodactyl's special is too low and Dragonair survives. Okay, so that's annoying. Because of a Hyper Potion, I get to reroll my damage, and apparently it's still bad. Either way, I managed to knock it out. Now it's time for Aerodactyl versus Aerodactyl. I set up Agility once, test Fly out because I can tank its attacks well, and then Ice Beam finishes it. Please just 1-hit the Dragonite with Ice Beam. It does 4 times damage, and it gets the job done. The fourth and final member of the Elite Four is the champion, and it's going to be Aerodactyl's toughest test yet. It's time, let's do this. Sandslash is first. This time it doesn't have Sand Attack, and I take it out with 3 uses of Fly. Alakazam follows. I use Hyper Beam, which has the coolest animation ever, by the way. It's like just in front of Fire Blast in my opinion, and I get a 1-shot. Executor should be simple, but first before taking it down, I Mimic Hypnosis to manage the Cloyster that's coming up next. Fly KOs, Magneton comes out, Hypnosis misses. Of course it does. Thunder Wave paralyzes, Thunderbolt does so much, and Leech Seed finishes me. So things can spiral very quickly out of control when you're using Hypnosis, and also when you're using an Aerodactyl. There's actually a smarter way to go about all of this. At Executor, I Mimic Hypnosis, and then I set up Agility. Now I can one-shot the Magneton with Hyper Beam. No recharge, I use Hypnosis on Cloyster, it goes to sleep, I use Fly, and it does almost half. And then I finish it with Hyper Beam. Oh no, of course it survives. Now I have to recharge, but luckily it keeps snoozing and I knock it out. Flareon's last. I use Hyper Beam, and that's it! I've done it! Aerodactyl clocks in with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 40 seconds, at level 62 with 24 resets, and a game time of 4 hours and 32 minutes. This thing has been struggling for the majority of the game, like from the mid-game onwards. So I think it makes sense that it struggles here against Mewtwo as well. I reset 5 times before I finally managed to get a good fight against it, and guess how I managed to take it out? With a critical hit, of course. I do want to reflect on these results versus the results I got a year ago. This is a huge improvement. I cut Aerodactyl's time by more than a half. But still, only a single playthrough doesn't tell me much about the Pokemon. We've got luck clouding our vision. After all, there were a lot of crits at key moments. I need to conduct some tests and see how Aerodactyl can get through the game in an optimized way. I'm looking for every advantage that I can get so that I can apply them to my follow-up playthrough. I tested Brock at lower levels to see if I could fight less optional trainers and squeeze some time out that way. Level 9 is quite literally almost enough. With better critical luck, I could do it, but level 10 is enough. I actually won 4 times and only lost once. So this is a slight amount of risk with the potential reward of speeding the split up. However, at level 11, things are very consistent. Aerodactyl wins 5 times in a row. For Misty, I was surprised by the results. I went 5-5 against her at level 23. The reason that I'm able to get such a good win rate against her is the fact that Aerodactyl just crits so much. Now against gym leaders early on in the game like this, I have to make some choices. Do I want to do additional training to make them more consistent or use rare candies to level up? After all, I could use 3 before her if I went to the SSN first. However, because of my slow growth rate, I really don't want to train anymore in the early game and I don't want to use the rare candies. So for now, I think that taking this level of consistency against her is a good idea. I think that Surge is going to need luck any way I approach it, so I'll test Koga next. I really wish that I'd figured out that I could set up on the second Aerodactyl, but there's another way to do it that's probably more consistent anyways. Find the level that lets Aerodactyl one-hit the third Venonat. I tested incrementally, and at level 38 I can do it. I used a save state and fought this Venonat so many times to confirm that it's always a one-hit. By the way, when I'm doing these tests, I am messing with the game's RNG so that I'm getting accurate results. So that means level 38's the go-to level here. The Sylph rival is an unfortunate case. I really couldn't find a strategy to beat him at a level lower than 48. I need Fly to be 2-hitting the Sandslash, Cloyster, and Magneton. This is a spot that I'm gonna need to grind for. Previously, I defeated Blaine after the rival, but it might make sense to do them in the opposite order. That way Aerodactyl would have the special boost for the rival. At level 49, Aerodactyl could win here fairly easily. I tried testing at a lower level, but it doesn't go very well. So I think that level 49 is the go-to level here. For Giovanni, I tested Mimicking Earthquake and Mimicking Double Team to compare the two approaches. My faith in the Double Team strategies was shaken in my first playthrough after all. Turns out Double Team is the best way to do it. Mimicking Earthquake is just too inconsistent because Aerodactyl can be hit with Sand Attack or Slash depending on where I choose to set up. So if I'm going to use the Double Team strategy, can I make it more consistent than it was last time? The answer is yes. If I use a rare candy right before the fight, then that prevents the mid-fight level up, and that preserves my badge boosts for the ride on. Okay, so I think I've solved Giovanni. Let's move on to the rival before the league. He was tough, but that's largely because I was under-leveled. If I use some rare candies now, Aerodactyl can learn Hyper Beam, and that really helps here. I can Mimic Slash, giving consistent damage, Fly KOs the Execute, Fly or Slash 2 hits the Cloyster, Hyper Beam is a solution for Magneton, Slash for Kadabra, and Hyper Beam for the Flareon. By the way, when I can, I want to be using Slash, just because it has a higher accuracy. When I was testing against Lorelei, I got extremely lucky. Lapras misses Hydro Pump, Lapras misses Blizzard, Hyper Beam crits, and Hyper Beam crits again. To top all of that off, Aerodactyl survives Blizzard, recharges, Lorelei uses a Super Potion, and Fly KOs. Because of how well I was doing, I figured that Aerodactyl would be fine. It will be fine, right? Right? Next, I tested Lance, and this did not go well. 2 wins and 8 losses. Gyarados' Hydro Pump is brutal, and mimicking Ice Beam from Dragonair can also be the end. If I try to get through without Ice Beam, then Dragonite stops me. After all, in yellow, it has Blizzard and Thunder. When doing these tests, I'm constantly thinking about what will bring the best real-time finish result. Sometimes a few levels can really help, other times, like this, I think it makes sense to just reset 3 to 5 times and get the luck required to get by Lance. If only Aerodactyl leveled up faster, I might be incentivized to train instead. But in this case, I'm really pushed away from that strategy by the game's design. So, unfortunately, I don't think there's really a better choice here. Maybe you can think of one that you'll put in the comments. By the way, no, Sky Attack is definitely not the answer. Now, I really want to examine the champion fight, because there's some stuff going on here that most people don't think about. When he picks Flareon, his Cloyster is level 63. But if he picks Jolteon, his Cloyster will be level 61. In some cases, that's what I need to survive an attack and just barely win the fight. Also, Jolteon is less accurate than the Magneton because it has Thunder and Thunder Wave. Thunder has a 30% chance to miss, and Thunder Wave has a 25% chance to miss because all AI status moves have a 25% chance to miss in this generation. When we examine the Magneton, it's quite different. It has Thunder Wave, so 25% chance to miss, and Thunderbolt, which is not going to miss, unless it Gen 1 misses. Yes, the AI can also Gen 1 miss. However, in this case, since I'm maxing out my speed with agility, my nearly 900 speed is going to be cut in a quarter, which means I'll still move first. Hyper Beam is able to one-hit, so I think I have my approach. The Jolteon team is going to be easier. So with all those results in, I think I can now do an optimized playthrough. It is slightly luck-based, but I swear I did my best. Let's see how it goes. So the first task for Aerodactyl now is to beat the optional rival at Route 22 so that he picks Jolteon. Rock typing is a huge advantage here because I can fight him at a lower level than is usually the case. For most Pokemon, I want between level 9 and 11. Here, Aerodactyl has no problem starting at level 7. This earlier experience makes the bug catchers in the forest faster as well. Here's a fun fact. In Pokemon Red and Blue, there are some tiles in the forest that don't generate encounters. Also, the tiles that do generate encounters do so 8% of the time. However, in Pokemon Yellow, the encounter rate in the forest was bumped up to 25%, and all of the tiles generate encounters. In this case, that gives Aerodactyl a lot more bugs to wing attack out of existence for experience. Other than knocking out the encounters that come to me, I don't need to spend any additional time in the forest. I defeat the junior trainer, his Diglett levels Aerodactyl up to level 11, and because I tested this, I know that Brock is going to be easy. It's a slow fight, and honestly, Brock gets Aerodactyl so close to fainting. But I still win, and clock in 1 second faster than my first playthrough. This is a good example of when rooting in an earlier trainer that I didn't fight previously doesn't actually slow down the results. In this case, it's a break even, and I was able to set Aerodactyl up for success in the later stages of the game. In Mount Moon, I invest in training, I defeat the Nugget Bridge rival, complete the SSN, and make it to Misty at level 23. Previously, I went 5 and 5 in tests, so I should be able to do this. Staruse first, Wing Attack crits, and takes it out in a single hit. Starmie follows, Wing Attack does a third, Bubble Beam does more than half to me, and it cuts my speed, giving Starmie a second hit that finishes Aerodactyl off. Well, that's not good. And then Starmie crits with Bubble Beam and Aerodactyl faints again. In the third fight, Staryu crits, but Misty drops the ball with Starmie and uses X-Defend when she's within KO range. I skip Surge and head through Rock Tunnel towards Celadon City. Before I get there, I have to face the self-destructing hiker though. My strategy for him is to use Bide. Unfortunately, his first rock throw doesn't do enough damage to let Bide one hit. I finish the Geodude off with Wing Attack, I start Bide on the second one, and look at this. Rock throw, and rock throw, knocking Aerodactyl out before Bide retaliates. So there's nothing that I could do about that. In the next fight I get 2 damaged before Graveler to use Bide, so I'd have to use Wing Attack and hope for crits, but it isn't enough, and that's another reset. In the third fight, the Graveler self-destructs, Aerodactyl survives, and that means I've won. By the way, I'm writing this portion of the script over a month after I recorded this footage. I think a good strategy here would be to use Fly turn 1 and then Double Edge turn 2. This would increase my available health in case Thunderbolt hits. I really neglect Double Edge because of the recoil damage, and that's a bias that I'm working hard to overcome right now. Either way, it doesn't matter here because Aerodactyl wins without it. I am 2 minutes and 17 seconds ahead of my previous time now. I grab Swift, defeat the rival in Pokemon Tower, take a bike ride, have a safari vacation, and then train in Erica's gym. At level 32, I'm able to sweep her team with ease. Now I'm 3 minutes and 47 seconds ahead. Things are going to slow down a bit though because I have a lot of training ahead to ensure the next trainers are consistent. This training makes my Koga split 12 seconds slower than it was previously. Now I'm going to finish Blaine before the Sylph rival. I'll have a boosted special that way and I'll be vastly overleveled. After all, I need to be able to defeat his Jolteon now. I take the Arcanine down with only red health remaining, so Blaine almost got me. At a higher level, the rival in Sylph is better, I get lucky against Cloyster, and from there I sweep until Jolteon. It survives Fly, because it resists it, but my level prevents massive damage and I take it out. After that, I sweep through Sabrina's team and clock in 8 minutes and 26 seconds faster than my first attempt. So that feels really good, I've earned myself a significant improvement. Giovanni should be fine because I have double team on my side. Nope, just kidding. I'll have Earthquake instead because I got a bit trigger happy with Mimic and used it right away. I make it safely to the Rhydon and then it uses Rock Slide. But Aerodactyl hangs on with 7 hit points and finishes him off. Now I'm over 12 minutes ahead of my previous time. In my tests, I said how good Hyper Beam was for the pre-league rival, but yeah, I forget it here. Oops. I play so much Pokemon Yellow, and many of my rooting choices have become habit. In this case, my instincts kicked in, and I followed my regular rooting. I fly from Giovanni's gym to the Pokemon Center. I do this because it's always the same inputs, and I can make mistakes when I'm trying to walk back. I heal, because why not? I'm right beside the Pokemon Center. Opening my inventory and using an item will take about half the time that it takes to heal in here anyways. After that, I bike over to the rival and save the game. Since I forgot Hyper Beam, I was really hoping that Slash was enough damage for the Jolteon. However, it's not. Thunder strikes and Aerodactyl gets fried. I try again, but this time Fly crits Cloyster, bypassing my setup, and Aurora Beam KOs. I make it back to Jolteon in the next fight, but this time I have less health. However, what's good about Jolteon is that it can miss, and that gives Aerodactyl the time it needs. I'm only 10 minutes ahead now, but that's still a really nice advantage. Now, I should be fine against Lorelei, right? My high crit chances will help, plus she seemed determined to give Aerodactyl luck last time. But it appears that I used up all of it previously. Reset after reset after reset stack up. The Dugong just refuses to use rest, and so Aerodactyl can't set up. Finally, I make it to Lapras, but I don't have any setup. Fly does half, and it KOs with Hydro Pump. I didn't use Hyper Beam here because I didn't want to have to recharge if I hit and it didn't KO. But with Fly, I could attack twice. Either way, I'm not going to one-hit the Lapras without setup, so the battles continue. And the losses continue too. It's becoming clear now that when I was testing, I got very lucky 5 times in a row. The results from my test led me to a bias, which was the belief that I was going to win at some point in the very near future. Like, I'm gonna clock in faster than my previous split no matter what. I have some time to burn just losing over and over, so I kept trying. And then it reached the point where I was like, alright, this isn't working, but I'm this far invested, I might as well just keep going and see how long it takes. However, the resets just keep coming. I have 43. I'm now slower than my previous run, and at this point, I was pretty frustrated. There's no doubt in my mind that I just need a better strategy against her, maybe more levels, like spending the time that I earn in the mid-game on leveling could make this much more consistent. But since I've messed this up, it doesn't make sense to go back and train for that now. I want to see just how long it takes me to win at this level. After all, Aerodactyl has the slow growth rate, so that's why I wanted to do it at this low level. But just how unlikely is that? I cannot put into words just how much this hurt. It's been a long time since I've reset this much against a single trainer. I started facing Lorelei with 6 resets, and now I'm at 66. And did you think the pain ends there? Nope. Now I'm at 69 resets. 72. Oh, I'm at 74. I'm still not getting the luck that I need. I'm really not going to quit though. I'm stubborn. I'm going to do this until I finally win. Could this be the playthrough that gets the first triple-digit reset? It could be, because I'm 3/4 of the way there. One of the major reasons that this isn't working is that Dugong just uses rest far too infrequently. Banking on that is just not a good idea. So Aerodactyl can't regularly set up. However, when it does, I sometimes make it through the Cloyster and Slowbro and Jinx, and then I get all the way to the Lapras. But then it just KOs with Hydro Pump or Blizzard. Unless Aerodactyl survives? I get a second hit and Lapras goes down. Nice! I did it. That took 69 resets. Okay, I'm very happy that I ended up sticking with it, if just for that result. The saddest part, though, is that Aerodactyl won't have any issues with the next 2 trainers. Well, maybe the next 3, because I make it past the Gyarados on my first attempt. However, my health is low, so I decide to forego mimicking Ice Beam. That way the Dragonite might miss with Thunder or Blizzard, and I can mimic Blizzard and KO it. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. The next attempt is Aerodactyl crits with Swift, and that's it again. I tried mimicking Ice Beam on my 3rd attempt, but I was right the first time. My health is too low to do that. Then Hyper Beam misses, and that's another reset. And the resets are starting to stack up again. Loss after loss after loss. Is this going to be a repeat of Lorelei? I really don't want to have to blackout and face her again at a higher level. The only thing I need here is to get by with more health. Can the Gyarados just miss? I got a bit frustrated and spammed Hyper Beam against Aerodactyl, and it really isn't doing much. Funnily enough, its Swift doesn't KO this time and I make it back to Dragonite. Maybe Hyper Beam will KO? I go for it and it misses. Okay, time to reset. However, Dragonite misses its Thunder as well. Alright, I'll keep playing. I mimic Blizzard, Dragonite misses Thunder again, and I roll the Snowstorm dice. The weather rolls in and Dragonite gets turned into an orange popsicle. I've made it back to the champion, albeit 20 minutes slower than last time. Can I do it? I think that I can. Fly into Hyper Beam for Sandslash, level up before Alakazam, Fly KOs, set up on the Executor while it spams Leech Seed, and then knock it out. Cloyster's at a lower level, so I should be able to KO, unless I crit. But I should survive because it's at a lower level. Well, not if it crits. I make it back to Cloyster, crit with Fly again, but Aerodactyl survives Ice Beam and Fire Blast KOs. Ninetales falls to Hyper Beam, and so does Jolteon. I clock in with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 33 seconds. So I avoided triple-digit resets. I only had 84. Aerodactyl was level 62, and I got a game time of 4 hours and 7 minutes. Resets are inversely related with game time, so the additional resets meant that I got a lower game time. If you know my videos, I really like in-depth exploration of the Pokemon. I can't leave things here. This isn't finished. I do multiple playthroughs with each Pokemon because I really want to understand how each playthrough works and create a route that I'm personally happy with. Also, it's really fun competing against myself to try to get a better time. So can I do it? I think that I need more testing to figure Lorelei out. I need to solve her first, and then I'll know what level I should be at the champion, and I can test that fight, specifically the damage ranges against Cloyster. Ideally, I could one-hit the Dugong with Hyper Beam at the start of the fight. This way I avoid attack drops from Aurora Beam and speed drops from Bubble Beam. At level 65, I'm getting the one-hit. The issue now is that even after 2 badge boosts, Lapras still survives Hyper Beam. Okay, well, what about level 66? Well, Dugong takes less damage, thanks to damage rounding. I'm gonna talk about you later in the future. Thanks for leaving the comments about this mechanic, by the way. Level 67 still isn't enough for consistency either, 68 doesn't help either, and this is a level that's good for damage rounding. I tried adding Fire Blast to my moveset, so that after setting up with Amnesia that I steal from Slowbro, I could potentially one-hit the Lapras. Level 69 gets me past the Cloyster, and once I've set up, I can sweep her team with Fire Blast. Now Aerodactyl feels like the dragon that it could have been. Well, until Fire Blast misses and Hydro Pump one-hits with a critical hit. Now Sky Attack's obviously a bad idea, so what else is going wrong? Then I realized what my mistake was. Now I'm trying to get better damage ranges here to make the fight easier, and the only ways to do that are to level up or to use Agility for the badge boost. Both of those are bad ideas. Aerodactyl has a slow growth rate, and Agility is not really able to get set up because Dugong doesn't like to use Rest. However, what if I don't need Agility? In its place, I could teach Aerodactyl Rest. I revert back to my old level, 58, to test this strategy because it might be possible with less training. Because I can heal, damage from Dugong or Cloyster doesn't matter that much. Also, setup on Slowbro with Amnesia is way better now that I can heal. Since she has good AI, it's only going to use Surf and Withdraw, so its damage is going to decrease each time I set up. A first turn Surf is the scariest thing. After that, Aerodactyl can heal, and now it's prepared for the final 2 Pokemon. Now, it seems silly to set up Amnesia without Fire Blast, but Fly can't be removed because there's no move deleter in Generation 1, and Hyper Beam is required to make the pre-league rival fight easier. If I had infinite time, I could buy another Hyper Beam TM, but today that won't work. Still, the setup with Amnesia boosts Aerodactyl's defenses against the special type moves, and I think this is a good enough strategy. So let's see how it works in practice. So let's go through the results from my 3rd playthrough. I get my fastest time yet against the optional rival Brock, Misty, and Surge. That's even with 2 resets against Misty. Things slow down a bit in the mid-game, I struggle through Blaine unfortunately, and I split slightly slower than my 2nd playthrough at Giovanni as a result. I forget to teach Hyper Beam for the pre-league rival, and once again I lose because of it. This time at least I teach it in the 2nd fight and I win. Now it's time for Lorelei. It all comes down to Slowbro's first turn. He uses Surf, and that's 1 reset. Cloyster's Ice Beam crits, so that's a 2nd loss. Slowbro turn 1 Surfs again, but in the 4th fight, it doesn't, and I finally managed to get set up. From there, Aerodactyl's able to slowly KO the Slowbro and sweep Jinx and Lapras. What about Lance? Well, changing my strategy at Lorelei gave me Rest, and now I have it for Lance as well. This makes the fight so much easier. I can take my time to heal at the 2nd Dragonair, steal Ice Beam, and then KO the rest of his team. Aerodactyl is now set to clock in under 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 41 seconds. This is going to be my best time yet. And then, Fire Blast doesn't do enough and Cloyster KOs. And it happens again. And again. So I should have used Fire Blast turn 1 against it, and then Hyper Beam on turn 2, but it misses and I lose a 4th time. Then Clamp hits way too many times. So the time is slipping away from me again. The reason it's happening is that I'm not one-hitting the Executor, and it gets to set up Leech Seed so that the Cloyster can then heal. I swear, I thought I was so close. In the next fight, I finally get 2 attacks on Cloyster and take it out. Ninetales confuses me. I go slow, rest up twice before knocking it out, so I have the best chance of surviving Jolteon's hit. Fly does half. Not sure why I used that move. I think Hyper Beam would have been better. Thunder misses. Then my Hyper Beam misses. Thunder misses again. And finally I finish it off. 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 34 seconds. That is 7 seconds faster than my first attempt in this video. So this isn't good enough. What level do I have to be to one-hit the Exeggutor and prevent Leech Seed? The answer is 67. So the best way to get there is to save all the rare candies until just before Lorelei. To do this though, I need to beat Surge. Finally I take him out, I grind so much in the mid-game, I have no additional resets until I get to the pre-league rival. Once again, I forget Hyper Beam. I can't believe I did this 3 times, which is very frustrating watching this footage back, but at least it's only 1 reset. My time isn't great because I've saved all my rare candies, and with them I'm level 65 for Lorelei. Fly crits Dugong for a 1-hit, Cloyster takes almost half, Clamp takes me into orange, and Hyper Beam KOs. Now Slowbro, please don't surf. It does give me the time I need to fully set up and heal. I should have taken a long time to knock it out, but Fly crits really speeding up the results. And then Surf crits. But Aerodactyl hangs on with 3 hit points. All of those levels really paid off. And it really matters because Aerodactyl survives another crit from Slowbro's Surf. From there, the Slowbro goes down, Jinx falls in a single hit, and Lapras takes 2. So how will Lance be? Well, it's much more consistent now that I have Rest. However, taking my time on Dragonair comes with its risks. In this case, I get my speed lowered, and without agility, there's no way to boost it. However, I really should have healed here instead of trying to sweep. Aerodactyl's next, I don't move first. Once again here, I should have healed, but I don't, and because of that, I lose once. However, I correct these mistakes in the next fight, and I win. It's champion time. Now, will I one-hit the Exeggutor with Fly? If I can do it, then everything else is going to fall into place. I get the KO because my level is high enough, Cloyster comes out, Fly does a third, and Clamp takes me into orange. Unfortunately, my following Fire Blast doesn't KO, but it burns, and that's all I needed. However, my attack was lowered with its last Aurora Beam. I heal on Ninetales and then Fly crits. Now, there's only 1 Pokemon left. It's Jolteon. My lowered attack is a big liability now because Hyper Beam doesn't KO, and I have to recharge. But Thunder misses twice, and Aerodactyl takes the win. It clocks in with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 45 seconds, with 6 resets at level 68 and a game time of 4 hours and 40 minutes. While it was a bit bumpy, and there was luck required, I'm quite happy with these results. I could probably play better and get this time like 2 to 4 minutes lower, but after that, I'm really just going to start looking for luck. Here are all the results that I collected for this video. Honestly, Aerodactyl is not that great. Its moveset and typing really hold it back in these games, but I think an even bigger liability for it is its slow growth rate. It just makes training so hard in the mid-game. I think these factors hold it back from being a top placer in my tier list. Its real time is slightly faster than my first Drowsy playthrough, and much slower than my 7th Wigglytuff playthrough. On its 3rd playthrough, Wigglytuff got a time of 1 hour and 6 minutes, so it's much better than Aerodactyl. Also, I have a hypothesis that when I do 2nd playthroughs for Drowsy, Slowpoke, and Clefairy, they're gonna get better results. For now, Aerodactyl earns a spot at the top of the B tier. Like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and leave a comment because I gotta read them all. Also, thanks so much to my patrons for their support. Now, if you made it this far, you're incredible. It's bloopers time. However, the toughest 4 trainers are left. I think that's the first blooper of this video. Literally going into the Elite 4, I filmed 42 minutes of content without like a good blooper. I definitely messed lines up, but there was no bloopers. What are we gonna do for the credits? I'm gonna have to just ramble, like I'm doing now. And this is gonna be Aerodactyl's toughest test yet. Toughest test yet. Oh my, it's like so many T's in that sentence. 2 in toughest, 2 in test, and 1 in yet. Holy. Toughest test yet. I just want to say like PP, PowerPoints. PP, PowerPoints. Listen to the plosives. PP, PowerPoints. The plosives are way more exaggerated for PowerPoints, so I'm saying PP, obviously for audio reasons. That's why I talk about my PP so much. I really wish that I figured out that I could have set up on the 2nd Venonat. I wrote 2nd Aerodactyl. No trainer has 2 Aerodactyls. I really wish that I'd figure out that I could have set... What is this sentence? I really wish I'd figured out that I could set up on the 2nd Aerodactyl. This is the worst. Oh my gosh. Lance, the 3rd member of the Elite Four, is next. Gyarados is a tough opponent to start against. Today, that's kind of a rhyme. Lance, the third member of the Elite Four, is next. Gyarados is a tough opponent to start against. It's like a rap, the Poke Rap. the Scott's Thoughts Poke Rap. Lance, the third member of the Elite Four, is next. Gyarados is a tough opponent to start against. Not today, though. Fly crits, Hydro Pump misses. No, that's cringe. Don't do it. Don't do it, Scott. Don't do it. Don't put this in the bloopers. Maybe put this in the bloopers. Oh, no. Also, there's someone who commented on my Grimer video recently and said, "This was funny. I liked this. It's not your best video, but like it wasn't as cringe as you said it was." Thank you, man. That's, that makes me feel warm feelings inside. I'm just gonna leave this here. If you yeah, thank you. You made my day. I actually really like my Grimer video. I know it's kind of unhinged. I intentionally kept in way too many bloopers, but yeah, I hold it close to my heart. Cute little sludge. I'm doing a replay of Grimer, actually. That thing, it's going to be fun. So here's my footage from the Oak battle. His first 3 Pokemon aren't very hard for Aerodactyl to deal with, but the Blastoise followed by the Gyarados represent real threats. Luckily, Blastoise knows Withdraw as well as Hydro Pump, so in this case it just spams the status move, and Aerodactyl knocks it out with a critical hit from Hyper Beam. His ace Gyarados is next. I have green health, so I'm pretty confident, but then Fly misses. Luckily, Gyarados misses its Hydro Pump. I Fly again. It misses Hydro Pump because I'm in the air, and then I do almost half. But then Hydro Pump connects, and it does so much damage. But Aerodactyl survives on 9 hit points, takes the Gyarados down, and that's it.